Today I'm in the Homesburgh section of Northeast Philadelphia. I am here to show you the Homesburgh prison. It was built in 1896 and it was open until 1995 and it was decommissioned then. The reason I'm here is to teach you or tell you guys about the Homesburgh prison human experiments. From 1951 to 1974, a doctor named Albert Kligman, he was a dermatologist. He, through the University of Pennsylvania, ran experiments on mostly black inmates here. They tested everything from dioxin, chemical in Agent Orange, to syphilis, herpes, athlete's foot, ringworm, all these different types of burns and sunscreen lotions and all that. The typical prisoner here would make about 15 to 25 cents a day working in the yard or the kitchen or anything. But these the prisoners that signed up for the experiments were paid sometimes as much as $60 a month for these, to get these tests run on them. There was a book called Acres of Skin that came out that detailed it a lot. It's a really horrible, horrible time in not only Philadelphia history, but American history. The Axis powers did a thing called the Nuremberg trials, where they prosecuted the top Nazi officials, and part in doing that, they also made like a Nuremberg Creed. Part of the horrible things that happened during World War II and the Holocaust, and a doctor named Joseph Mengele, he experimented on Jewish prisoners of war and other prisoners of war, but mostly Jewish people, twins and stuff, and he did horrible experiments on people. Now, America had a bunch of people write up this creed saying that from now on you need explicit permission to operate or to test people. You have to give them what's going on, what's wrong, what can happen. They have to be informed before you're allowed to test on them. And funny enough, we had every other country sign this creed, and we were the only ones that didn't. So we started experimenting on prisoners here. 1951 it started. And here, I'm going to show you the prison now. There's 3 prisons here in Philadelphia. This one, the House of Corrections, and then Eastern State Penitentiary. They're all built like this, the old castle-style, big walls. You'll see in the drone footage I made, it was made like a center hub, and then it was like a pinwheel where jail halls went out in a pinwheel thing. You'll see when I post. The nickname for this place was the Terror Dome. This was a really scary place to be. A lot of bad things happened in here. In fact, during the war on drugs, when I first started getting high, the prisons were overcrowded at one point, and so they brought us here, and there was like a gym type area where we slept on the floor. I was only there for about 2 days, so that's my connection here with Homesburgh Prison. Another cool, interesting, thing they did here. I know a lot of you guys know that I'm interested in the Cold War and stuff like that. There was a project or a program the CIA did called MK Ultra. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that. They were trying to create a perfect assassin, able to go into other places, hostile territories, and assassinate someone, and then have their mind erased so they couldn't tell the details or tell anyone what happened. Of course, that's not really possible, but they tried. One of the experiments that was taken here was, and the Unabomber went through it. Apparently, Charles Manson did it. This is where they gave prisoners large amounts of LSD, and they were trying to use LSD to kind of control and make the person's mind what they want it to be. A Manchurian candidate is what they call it. So those experiments happened right here. I'm going to walk across the street. We're going to see. Like I said, 1896 this place was built. And it was decommissioned in 1995. And then the first time I got arrested in Philadelphia was in the summer of 1996. So it used to be a training academy for a while. But now it looks like it's just closed. Now, they tried to sue the prison, the doctor, and University of Pennsylvania, but they had the lawsuit thrown out because of statute of limitations, they said. Now, you can see this. People from Philadelphia, if you're familiar with the area, this prison on the other side, it runs along I-95, so you can see it as you go into the city. Another cool thing about this place is the notorious bank robber Willie Sutton. He was from New York. He was one of the most prolific bank robbers of, I believe it was the 50s. I could be wrong though. He actually escaped from this prison, and he went on the run for a couple more years. I think they eventually caught him back up in New York, but that was a big-time thing when it happened, the Willie Sutton prison break from here. He probably scaled over these fences, one of these fences right here, one of these big walls. Excuse me. So, if you've ever had athlete's foot, this is where they experimented on prisoners for him to come up with the athlete's foot medicine. Retin-A, I think it's called. So, if you've ever had athlete's foot and you used medicine and it got better, and honestly, a lot of dermatology medicines and stuff were tested out here on patients. You know, I was watching a interview on YouTube, and there was a guy who, you know, there's a bunch of guys still alive, and they're still dealing with the after effects of these tests. Like I said, they were giving them herpes, you know, stuff that once you get it, it doesn't go away. You have it for life. And, you know, they didn't tell any of these prisoners what they were being tested for, what the side effects could be, none of that stuff. And a lot of the inmates that were doing the tests, they were making 20 times the amount of money that every other inmate was making. So there used to be a lot of inmate sexual assaults, and they were using the money to buy, you know, sexual favors from other prisoners and stuff. Apparently that got pretty bad. It was a real ugly time in Philadelphia prison history. Here's the corner guard post. Now, I don't know if you could see, hold on. So, you could see the cars right there. That's I-95, and it runs right up along the prison wall here, all the way down there. So that's it, man. I wanted to show you guys another interesting, ugly, and mostly forgot about history of Philadelphia. You know, a lot of the companies that, you know, Dow chemical companies, most pharmaceutical companies would come here and use prisoners to test their stuff on. DuPont, the Department of Defense, not only with dioxin, which is Agent Orange, but LSD and the MK Ultra experiments, all that. It's crazy that this was it was legal, and a lot of the companies, Johnson & Johnson, and a lot of these bigger pharmaceutical companies today that are, you know, multi-billion-dollar corporations, some of their medicines they acquired by testing on humans. There's some pictures. I'm going to see if I can get the pictures and get them okayed to put on YouTube. But there's pictures with, you know, guys with just, you know, big scars and different stuffs on their backs and their arms, and just a really, really ugly thing. And it's been, they've tried to their best to forget about it and not bring this to life, but thankfully there's the guy that wrote the book, and now with YouTube and journalists, you know, people learning about it. It's important to learn about these things, so hopefully they don't happen again, but, you know, far too often that's what happens. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed Homesburgh Prison. Till next time.